filters of all time. The rankings for filter shows come directly from the responses you post on the G4 website. To make your vote count, log on to g4tv.com/filter and select the filterator. Then choose a category, vote on a scale of 1 to 10, and we'll take care of the rest. While you're there, be sure to post your suggestions for topics and games you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Getting back to the countdown, we move on to lucky number 7 by picking up with unlucky number 13. The Friday the 13th movies may have been scary, but the only thing scary about the game was that someone actually tried to pawn it off on the gameplay in public.
Friday the 13th was a definite disappointment because looking forward to playing against Jason, it was just too frustrating, too hard, get killed immediately. Just a piece of crap.
I begged my mom to get it for me, and I couldn't even finish it. It was like, for 8-bit gaming, it was bad.
The pseudo first-person parts of the game. You know, you're turning, forward, turning, Jason!
The game just was a joke. It was banking off the name.
Fortunately, Nintendo didn't take all their cues from the movie franchise. They spared us the agony of any sequels. Midway, however, spared gamers very little agony when they released War Gods for the Nintendo 64. Best described as Mortal Kombat in 3D, War Gods was a huge hit in the arcades, but by the time it made its way to the 64, mediocre fighting and rotten character design made this fighter a huge miss. War Gods comes in 6th. Unbelievable is right. War Gods is the 3rd game in the countdown to have graced the N64, but don't be fooled. For its time, the 64 was one of the best pieces of hardware around. The stuff you're about to see, however, was not. Check out some of the most spectacular hardware failures.
Some of the most spectacular hardware failures in the game industry has to be the 3DO, anything by Sega other than the Genesis, and the Atari Jaguar.
The biggest hardware failure I can think of was Virtual Boy.
The Virtual Boy.
Virtual Boy.
Virtual Boy.
Let's see, you got the 3DO. Trip Hawkins' ingenious notion that people wanted to pay almost $800 for a console.
3DO. the original there. I never played it, but it was very, very expensive and just didn't sell because they didn't have very good games.
Probably the 3DO machine.
Bad move, Trip Hawkins.
Unfortunately, I bought a 3DO right when they came out like an idiot and, proceeded to empty my bank account.
Top of the list would probably be Atari Jaguar.
I had a Jaguar. There were a couple of really cool games for that. It had a lot of potential. The launch titles looked really neat, but nothing else came up.
Anything I didn't like? That's impossible. I collect video game systems.
You've got Sega's Failure City for the longest time in hardware. The 32X, the Sega CD.
Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast. Every company has a few clunkers, Sega especially.
Sega had I think it was the Moroccos for one of the dance games.
The 32X had no software support. The games it got were bad. The device was just a bad idea in general because the Saturn wasn't, the Saturn was the future of Sega, not the 32X. The Nintendo Power Glove, I think, was actually based on, was it NASA research?
The Atari Lynx handheld system, which I thought was brilliant, but unfortunately kind of went the way of the dodo.
I knew this kid, James Logan, who would actually wear the Nintendo Power Glove to school. I think he thought it made him look like a superhero or something. Oh, James. And on that note, oh, James. A legendary movie franchise does not always a successful video game make. A lesson never more perfectly illustrated than by Tomorrow Never Dies. It captures the 5 spot. I'm not sure why developers think that every popular movie franchise will translate into a successful video game, but even cartoons aren't safe. Of course, if you've ever played South Park, you're well aware of that. So why was the 4th place finisher such a stinker? Listen up for some enlightenment.
South Park was a failure because it didn't try to be anything else. It was actually Turok and with South Park characters.
You know, my only clear memory of South Park was endlessly shooting turkeys.
They just shouldn't have made that game like a first-person shooter. It's just a wrong. It doesn't work as a first-person shooter.
It wasn't fun. It frustrated you just to pick it up. You felt less intelligent or otherwise less of a person for having played it.
I think you boys better check it out.
A cultural phenomenon does not always a hit game make. And when we come back from the break, we'll reinforce that theory as we continue to count down the most spectacular failures of all time. Did Superman bore you to death? Or did a small terrestrial, crash and burn the video game house down?